You're famous for your smile, actually.
Yeah, a lot of people know me with my smile.
You're recognized for your radiant smile, a trait many admire. However, a prominent tennis analyst has just revealed a stark truth that the tennis community might find unsettling. The sport has undergone a profound transformation in just the last year or two, and this expert finally elucidates why Carlos Alcaraz's burgeoning fame is morphing into his most formidable adversary. These aren't just fan theories or sensational headlines. This insight originates from within the professional tennis circuit itself. Initially, upon transitioning to clay courts, Alcaraz showcased his peak performance, securing 2 major Masters titles. What makes this trajectory alarming is Alcaraz's age, a mere 22, yet he already boasts 2 Wimbledon championships, 2 French Open trophies, and a US Open title. He embodies the future the sport yearned for following Federer's departure. Every major sponsor sought him, every camera tracked him. Louis Vuitton, Rolex, Nike, gracing the covers of all significant publications. But now in April 2026, on his native Madrid clay amidst his home crowd, the initial rounds are already exposing the vulnerabilities experts cautioned against. While Alcaraz declares his sole focus is to win every tournament, competitors like Casper Ruud aren't distracted by lucrative sponsorship deals. Ruud recently dominated a set 6-1, exiting the court with an air of undeniable ownership, yet the conversation solely revolves around Alcaraz. The accelerated pace of the game is astounding, a sentiment precisely articulated by the tennis expert. This analysis caters to an audience truly invested in the sport, seeking insights beyond superficial narratives. Alcaraz is poised to revolutionize the game, assuming he maintains his health. This isn't just an analysis, it's a critical examination. The expert's explanation for Alcaraz's fame becoming his greatest threat doesn't begin with a defeat, but rather with a moment that appeared to be a triumph: the 2024 Wimbledon final. Carlos Alcaraz defeated Novak Djokovic in 4 sets, igniting pandemonium among the spectators. Cameras captured his tear-streaked face, brimming with unadulterated joy. The internet exploded. Louis Vuitton, Nike, and Rolex all celebrated. Publications globally echoed the same headline: "The King has arrived." At just 21, he had conquered the sport's greatest winner on its most revered court. This moment should have laid the groundwork for an enduring dynasty. Instead, as the tennis expert contends, it marked the precise moment the snare closed. Because what followed Wimbledon 2024 wasn't a period of celebration concluding with a renewed focus on tennis. It was an overwhelming cascade of events. Brand partnerships proliferated, media demands became unmanageable, exhibition appearances piled up, and his social media following soared to unprecedented levels for most athletes. Beneath this surge, a subtle but significant shift began to erode his game. A form of damage that never reveals itself immediately.
It never does with this kind of damage.
God bless this guy, Carlos Alcaraz. He's gonna change everything.
The first palpable sign emerged at the 2024 US Open. Alcaraz arrived as the defending champion and the sport's most compelling figure, met by a New York crowd eager for something spectacular. However, he fell in the quarterfinals to Jack Draper, a 22-year-old British player who had yet to claim a Grand Slam and had absolutely nothing to lose. Draper delivered the performance of his career. Frame-by-frame analysis of the footage revealed Alcaraz attempting to force extraordinary plays in situations that merely demanded patience. In rallies where a more conservative cross-court shot would have opened the court, he opted for daring drop shots. When holding a clear advantage, he rushed points. He succumbed to the crowd's desire for spectacle, and the scoreboard reflected his misguided ambition.
What I'm trying every time that I step on the court, just have fun and smile.
What I'm trying every time that I step on the court, just how fine is my own, Alcaraz states, a sentiment that perfectly encapsulates the precise phenomenon a tennis expert is now dissecting. This isn't a critique of his technique or a sign of physical decline. It's a psychological reorientation directly triggered by the immense burden of global celebrity. To truly grasp the gravity of this situation, one must understand the intricate decision-making processes at the elite level of tennis. Every professional player cultivates what coaches refer to as an automatic game, a repertoire of shot selections executed instinctively under pressure, without conscious thought. Years of rigorous training forge a default system that activates when matches intensify and cognitive demands become overwhelming. The world's top players place absolute trust in this system, ceasing to overthink and instead simply executing. Alcaraz possessed such a system, meticulously ingrained by his coaches at the Velna Academy since he was 12. His down-the-line backhand, his net approach after a short ball, his serve placement on break points, all were drilled to the point of reflex. However, fame has disrupted this innate reflex. When tens of thousands cheer your name, billions watch on television, and your image adorns billboards outside the stadium, that automatic system must contend with an unprecedented challenge: the omnipresent awareness of an audience. This awareness breeds the subconscious notion that a boring winner might disappoint, while a flashy drop shot guarantees a highlight reel moment, unlike a simple cross-court forehand. This audience awareness isn't a deliberate thought, it operates beneath conscious processing, yet it persistently reroutes decisions that were once automatic. Performance psychology experts use the term reinvestment to describe this phenomenon, where a player begins to consciously monitor a skill previously executed unconsciously. A reinvesting player might overthink their backhand swing mid-shot or second-guess a serve toss performed thousands of times. Externally, this appears as nervousness, but it's far more insidious. Competence actively sabotaging itself. A process dramatically accelerated by the relentless machinery of fame.
Machine accelerates reinvestment dramatically.
The people that I have around help me a lot.
Every single shot Alcaraz strikes is instantaneously analyzed by countless individuals globally. Each missed opportunity becomes the subject of a YouTube breakdown, while every victory is scrutinized for its aesthetic appeal rather than its sheer effectiveness. Alcaraz, who exists within this intense media ecosystem more than any other active player, is being subtly conditioned to perceive his own game in a manner that erodes the automatic instincts he painstakingly developed over a decade. Novak Djokovic notably never encountered this issue, not due to some vague, poster-worthy mental fortitude, but because his relationship with the audience was fundamentally distinct. Throughout much of his prime, Djokovic was actively unpopular with tennis crowds. He endured boos at the Australian Open and jeers at Wimbledon. He was cast as the antagonist in a sport that revered Federer and Nadal as heroes. This dynamic, though personally painful, conferred an extraordinary competitive advantage. Djokovic had no audience to perform for. His sole focus was the score. His automatic system remained uncontaminated because external validation was never a pursuit. Alcaraz, conversely, faces the opposite challenge. He is so universally beloved, celebrated, and genuinely adored by crowds across every continent that the signal of approval is perpetually present and easily accessible. His nervous system has adapted to track this. Consequently, under pressure, a portion of his decision-making process diverts resources to managing this external validation instead of concentrating solely on the match. The evidence for this, when examining the pertinent data, is quite clear. Alcaraz's unforced error count is markedly higher in high-profile matches, finals, semifinals, or encounters with top 10 opponents on showcase courts, compared to his error rate in lower-profile matches against players of similar caliber. This disparity cannot be attributed to opponent quality or playing surface. The most consistent correlating factor is the scale of the crowd and media attention. The grander the occasion, the more his game deviates from the disciplined fundamentals established by his coaches. His utilization of the drop shot reveals a similar pattern. During training and in early round matches with smaller audiences, Alcaraz employs the drop shot as a genuine tactical weapon, used sparingly to exploit a deeply positioned opponent. Yet in high-pressure scenarios on packed show courts, its frequency skyrockets, not due to a shift in tactical logic, but because of the crowd's reaction. The drop shot elicits gasps, standing ovations, and viral clips. Somewhere in the intricate neural pathways between intention and execution, this feedback loop has become a critical influence. This analysis is particularly unsettling for Alcaraz's supporters because it doesn't diminish his character or his competitive spirit. He is neither lazy nor arrogant, nor does he take anything for granted. Accounts from within his team uniformly describe his intense work ethic, matching anyone on tour. The issue isn't a lack of effort. It's that fame has cultivated a secondary audience within his own mind, an audience with priorities distinct from merely winning tennis matches. His pattern of physical breakdowns further substantiates this argument. The cramping incidents that have hampered Alcaraz at crucial junctures, most notably at the 2022 US Open against Zverev, and again at Roland Garros 2023, were not merely fitness failures. Sports medicine professionals who analyzed these situations highlighted the precise timing. Cramping didn't arise during extended baseline rallies in moderate conditions, but emerged during moments of extreme emotional intensity, such as tie-breaks on crowded show courts or fifth sets amidst a roaring crowd. Such high-intensity emotional arousal triggers a cascade of physiological responses that accelerate muscle fatigue and disrupt electrolyte regulation. Alcaraz's body was physically bearing the cost of the demands fame was placing on his nervous system. The relentless schedule pressure exacerbates every aspect of this challenge. Since early 2024, Alcaraz has committed to a volume of non-tournament engagements that no prior world number one would have tolerated during a title defense period. This includes the Laver Cup, exhibition matches across Latin America and Asia, sponsor activations in cities far removed from tournament schedules, and press obligations that routinely extend past midnight on days preceding matches. His management team, operating within a commercial apparatus that generates revenues dwarfing almost every other athlete in the sport, finds it increasingly difficult to decline these opportunities. Nadal, despite his public geniality, was fiercely protective of his preparation time. His team rejected commercial offers worth extraordinary sums, recognizing that recovery and focused preparation were non-negotiable. Federer adopted a similar approach. Both understood that the physical and mental energy required to secure Grand Slam titles is a finite resource, and every unit expended on the fame machine is a unit unavailable for the court. At 21, Alcaraz is still in a career phase where saying no feels like ingratitude, an instinct that is now proving costly. The argument regarding tactical exposure is equally serious, because every match Alcaraz plays is scrutinized by a global network of coaches and analysts. The informational asymmetry that once safeguarded young champions no longer exists for him. In previous eras, a teenager who burst onto the scene with unexpected skills might have had a window of 2 or 3 seasons before the tour fully adapted to neutralize those strengths, as information propagated slowly, and match footage was costly and time-consuming to analyze. By 2024 and 2025, Alcaraz's playing patterns were meticulously charted by every coaching team on tour within weeks of their emergence. His tendency to shorten points on the backhand side when fatigued, his slight hesitation before attempting an inside-out forehand from a wide position, his subtle service tells under pressure, all were documented, disseminated across coaching networks, and integrated into match plans by players ranked as low as 41st in the world. Journeymen who might once have been overwhelmed by his sheer talent now arrive equipped with detailed blueprints of his game.
Alcaraz deserves that environment.
To enjoy as much as he can when I'm on court or off the court.
The Fame machine, which broadcasted every moment of his tennis to the world, effectively handed these blueprints to every opponent he faced. The 2026 Madrid clay swing represents the nexus where all these interconnected issues converge most clearly. This is his home turf, the surface where his agility and powerful topspin are most effective, and the crowd loves him most unconditionally. Yet, that very unconditional adoration is precisely what renders it the most perilous environment of his entire season. On the clay courts of Madrid, Alcaraz doesn't need to earn the crowd's favor. He steps onto the court, and their allegiance is already secured. This eliminates the very scenario where his fame-conditioned nervous system might recalibrate, a situation where he must strive for approval rather than receiving it automatically. On a neutral court facing a hostile audience, there's some evidence that Alcaraz's game tightens productively as the challenge focuses him. In Madrid, enveloped by unwavering admiration, the performance instinct operates entirely unchecked. Casper Ruud's dominant 6-3, 6-1 victory over Davidovich Fokina on the same courts earlier that day stands as a stark, quiet contrast that a tennis expert urges us to consider. Ruud prepared diligently for this tournament, practiced intently, played his match, and left the court. There were no trending hashtags, no sponsor events, no magazine photo shoots crammed between sessions. Ruud's entire cognitive focus from his arrival in Madrid was singular: the tennis. The expert's argument isn't that Ruud surpasses Alcaraz in skill, but rather that Ruud currently operates within a competitive environment that Alcaraz's fame has rendered structurally inaccessible to him. A path forward undeniably exists and is not shrouded in mystery. It demands decisions that are simple to articulate but extraordinarily difficult to implement for a 21-year-old when the entire commercial landscape pressures him in the opposing direction. A meticulously protected schedule, firmly enforced media boundaries by his team, a re-evaluation of what he owes to the crowd versus what he owes to the scoreboard, and the cultivation of an ability to win ugly, to win boringly, to execute the cross-court forehand when a drop shot would elicit an ovation, and to feel absolutely nothing about the resulting silence. Djokovic mastered deriving satisfaction solely from the numbers on the scoreboard, not from the roar of the crowd, not from the artistry of a shot, but from winning the point, the game, the set, the match. This internal scoring system rendered him virtually impervious to external noise. Alcaraz's current scoring system incorporates too many external inputs. A tennis expert finally articulating this publicly is significant, not because this observation is new within professional tennis circles. It has been quietly debated for at least 18 months. Its significance lies in the fact that vocalizing it forces a confrontation with an issue the sport's commercial ecosystem desperately seeks to avoid. Alcaraz's fame is not merely a byproduct of his success. It is an active commodity, manufactured, sustained, and monetized by entities with immense financial stakes in its continuous expansion. These entities do not profit from Alcaraz quietly winning Grand Slams. They profit from Alcaraz being the most visible, most talked about, most spectacular performer in the sport, irrespective of the scoreboard's verdict. The incentive structure of his fame directly counteracts the behaviors necessary for securing Grand Slam titles. This, then, is the most perilous adversary Carlos Alcaraz confronts in 2026, not the player across the net, but the immense machine attached to his name. Until a fundamental decision is made within his team to prioritize the scoreboard over the spectacle, the chasm between Alcaraz's potential and his actual achievements will continue to widen in ways that no amount of talent, work ethic, or natural ability can bridge. The court remains indifferent to follower counts. A return of serve doesn't soften because you are adored. A tie-break at 6-6 in a fifth set does not negotiate with fame. There's an additional, largely unaddressed layer to this. Carlos Moya, Alcaraz's head coach, is similarly entangled within this commercial machine. Moya is considered one of the sport's most respected tactical minds. His expertise in court craft, point construction from the baseline, and strategic net transitions is genuinely elite. However, Moya operates within a management framework increasingly dictated by commercial imperatives rather than purely competitive ones. Coaching decisions, which tournaments to enter, how to structure pre-tournament preparation, the extent of media access during tournament weeks, are no longer made unilaterally by the coaching staff. They are negotiated within a broader apparatus that includes agents, sponsors, and brand managers whose understanding of tennis performance is limited, but whose leverage over the schedule is substantial. Moya has cautiously articulated in press conferences the importance of safeguarding Alcaraz's mental space, and this careful language is revealing. A coach with absolute authority over their player's environment would have no need for caution. They would simply act. The diplomatic nature of his language, rather than decisive action, suggests the coaching team is navigating constraints rather than defining them. This dynamic, a world-class coach operating with limited authority within a commercially dominated structure, is one of the quieter, yet more structurally profound issues Alcaraz carries into every major tournament. Contrast this with the environment Ivan Lendl cultivated around Andy Murray. Lendl accepted the coaching role with one non-negotiable condition: complete control over Murray's preparation and schedule during Grand Slam windows. Without exception or commercial override, Murray's management acquiesced, knowing Lendl would otherwise walk away. The outcome was 2 Wimbledon titles and a US Open. The lesson from that partnership wasn't tactical, it was organizational. A great coach vested with full authority produces results that a great coach with partial authority cannot replicate, irrespective of the talent involved. Alcaraz deserves such an environment.
Gut feeling.
The key question remains whether the intricate system surrounding him is capable of providing that autonomy. The next 2 Grand Slams will begin to offer answers. Roland Garros is just weeks away. On paper, the clay surface is already aligning in his favor. The playing conditions suit him perfectly, the draw will undoubtedly fear him, and the crowd will unequivocally adore him. Yet, as a tennis expert finally explains, that very adoration is precisely what renders the ultimate outcome so unpredictable. If this perspective resonated with you, consider subscribing to the channel. Each week, this platform delves into narratives that the mainstream tennis conversation tends to overlook. The Unfiltered analyzes the uncomfortable patterns and insights that respect your intelligence as a fan of the sport. Hit the subscribe button, activate notifications, and invite someone who shares your passion for tennis into this dialogue. The forthcoming video is poised to provoke further discomfort, which means it will be well worth your time.